وقل رب زدني علما.
They took the time and trouble to change it.
But am I right in saying the Orthodox Christian Church?
No, I'm not talking. No. I'm not talking about Eastern Orthodox. I'm not talking about Eastern Orthodox. I'm talking about the accepted, legitimate. You come to our church, we have a statement of faith. So the first thing they say in a statement of faith, every single church, apart from probably Pentecostal church, is we believe in the three persons of the Godhead. That is the first thing. And when you become a Christian, like me, from the world, not a clue about anything, they tell you the first thing you need to accept is the three persons of the Trinity. And they say the Father, Jesus Christ, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You say, yeah, I believe in those. Right, there you are, you're in. Sign this, you remember, shake your hand. Right, do as we say.
And you don't like that?
No.
You don't agree with the Trinity?
Well, then I started studying it to see if it says that they're three individual persons.
It's accepting blindly.
And it doesn't say that. But there is a verse added, 1 John chapter... Let me finish, because we're talking about textual criticism here. Now, I was told that 1 John chapter 5 verse 7 had been added. And my first thought was, the Bible hasn't been changed. But then I looked it up, and it had actually been added. It was in Erasmus' original text that he did in the Greek. He didn't have 1 John chapter 5 verse 7. And then the Catholic Church put pressure on him and said, guess what, mate?
Put it
in
back.
The next version, you're going to have 1 John 5 verse 7. And lo and behold, there it was. So when Luther did his translation, you don't find, to this day, in an old Luther translation, I've got one at home, you will not find 1 John 5 verse 7.
That's the only verse close to Trinity.
Tyndale used the 1521.
For there are three in heaven that bear the record, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and these three are one. That's the closest verse that tells you about Trinity.
But you still believe Jesus is God?
Yes, I do.
Or isn't that an aspect of what we're describing?
No, it's not, because what we're talking about here is textual criticism. And we're talking about verses that have been added. There's no verse that's been added that says, oh, Jesus is God. There isn't a verse like that. There have been verses.
How do you know he was?
Pardon?
How do you know he was?
Yeah, we're going on a different conversation here now. So I know you don't believe Jesus is God.
They meander.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know that Jesus is.
Do you want me to say that again? You didn't get it on camera.
Yeah, please. Action. You're playing to the camera.
Because I believe he's the Messiah. Okay.
I believe he's the naughty boy.
See, I don't know that
Two
this conversation is
opinions.
going to be helpful, because we were talking originally.
Occasionally throwing a flippant line.
Yeah.
Like it or lump.
Okay. Well, the original conversation was about conspiracies. Okay, I don't know where you are on conspiracies.
Well, in general principles, not religious scripture or anything, just conspiracy.
Yeah.
I would say in the main they're nonsense made up by people that have empty lives that need desperately to come up with some bizarre version of events that I think rarely hold any water whatsoever.
Actually, you're a conformist. By being an atheist, you are a conformist to the modern British system. You are conforming to modern British society by being an atheist.
Bad, is it?
No, it's not. You see, you're always trying to present yourself as the bad boy, but you're actually the good boy. In the eyes of British society, you're the good boy, you're the conformist, because you doubt everything to do with God and everything to do with
about conspiracy
creation.
theories.
He uses his brain.
Because this is a conspiracy.
God is a conspiracy.
No. You're the conspiracy. The conspiracy that religion is lies. There's no God. We all just come from animals.
You're saying the non-belief is the conspiracy. The conspiracy is the belief in this nonsense.
Yeah. So
I don't have the conspiracy. You have the conspiracy. I just don't go with your.
That's your opinion.
No,
we might think the opposite.
But it has to be the positive. The person that believes X, Y, or Z, whatever X, Y, or Z, that's the conspiracy. Someone that says I think X, Y. There's someone that says I think
someone
X,
who
Y,
denies
Z
it.
is nonsense.
You do believe it. Because you believe we evolved. You believe in the conspiracy of evolution.
Now you're talking about scientific fact.
No, you
conspiracy of gravity, the conspiracy of photosynthesis.
No, we accept
you
accept
only pick
those.
one biological process.
No.
The other biological process
This is where he starts shouting.
No, because I'm a biologist, and it annoys me that these religious people.
We don't disbelieve on
that. In science, I've got an FDSC in horticulture, plant science.
Okay. Do you work in horticulture?
I have a...
Oh look, they're from the Union.
Okay. Right, so I've studied...
I've just given you a lot of information on fucking camera.
listen,
Just dare put that online.
In my chemistry lesson, in my plant chemistry, biochemistry lesson, I was in a class full of atheists. My teacher was an atheist, and she said, I'm going to show you a video about what's it called? Help me here.
Give me a clue.
No, the part of the respiration where you have the... it's all gone, my mind's gone blank because I'm on camera. But where you've got the
ER in the cells?
No, the synthase. ATP synthase. ATP synthase, where you've got this thing spins round. It's like a motor in the cell, and what it's doing is you've got a difference between hydrogen ions. You've got a positive and negative charge inside and outside the cell. And so, in order to create energy, ions pass through this ATP synthase, which rotates like a motor. And in order for it to rotate, and as it rotates, potassium is connected to these things as they're spinning round. And she said, this is a design. And she said, I'm going to show you... No, she didn't say it's a design. She said, I'm going to show you a video made by people who believe in intelligent design, because it's the best version I can find. And she had to acknowledge that at microscopic level, this biochemistry had to, she wasn't able to say the words, it had to be designed, but she was basically acknowledging that it had to be designed because it was so complex, and it was
so the answer for complexity,
it was irreducibly complex.
No,
you couldn't reduce it.
Particular point.
You couldn't say that this bit evolved, this bit evolved separately, and then they just randomly came together and formed this complex mechanism, which is basically a factory.
Pure chance.
Yeah. She then showed us. She showed us a video then about
showing your ignorance of evolution by describing it as pure chance.
No, this bit here. This bit here. It's pure chance.
It is a theory.
They came together.
It's
pure
not.
chance.
Gravity is a thing.
Now, gravity is a different issue. You talked about photosynthesis. There is no creationist.
You're mixing everything
who
together.
would disagree with photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is 100% science. ATP synthase,
evolution
respiration.
100%
No, it
science.
isn't.
No,
That
it's
is a
not.
lie.
Darwin's
And you
idea of
have
evolution.
swallowed the
It's
conspiracy.
Darwin's idea.
You're
theory.
a conformist conspirator.
Yes.
You believe the lie. And the Bible
Why are you
tells us
again?
that
Why are
God
you?
will send them strong deception so they believe lies. And you have fitted into
Conspirator,
that
that's
category.
So, of all
You
the
believe
huge
lies.
wealth of science, you just pick on that one little bit because you think it's contradictory to your superstitious belief. But you can accept all other bits of science, but just not that one bit of science. That science accepts.
Because even Darwin himself said it's a theory.
Even Darwin.
Because he
You're
came up with
using
it.
the layman's-
Before
you're using
1850
the
it didn't
layman's
exist.
interpretation of the word
So
theory.
where was it before 1851? Where was evolution?
photosynthesis? Where was gravity before people realised and understood?
No, this.
You can't say because something wasn't understood at a certain point of time, it therefore cannot be.
No, but hang on a minute.
True.
All right. Newton,
Very silly.
Newton, who discovered gravity, believed in creation. He believed in an ultimate God
And
who
therefore-
created.
and
No, but you're
therefore-
saying. I'm asking
losing
you
your
where
logic.
atheism existed, where evolutionary
We're not talking
atheism
about
existed.
atheism. We're talking about different bits of science.
No, you said science didn't exist. You said with
say that. I
Darwin
said different
came the
aspects.
discovery of science. That's a lie.
I never
Science
said
had
that.
been. Well, what
I
are you
never
trying to say?
said that.
All right, let's see what you're saying.
About what?
You
About
said
what?
what? You made
No,
out.
I'm
I didn't believe in gravity, and I'm telling you,
you're
I
very
believe in
touchy,
gravity
aren't
because.
Your mind is running ahead.
Oh, here we are. Now he's getting personal.
No, I'm not, because I didn't say
You're
anything that
clasping at
was
straws.
in any way
You're clasping at
insulting
straws.
towards you.
Okay.
All I said about, shall I repeat what I said, if you're referring
Yes,
to what I
that's
said
what I
about
want you to
half
do.
a minute ago?
Let's hear
I said
it.
of all the many, many different aspects of science, you accept them all, except the one small, relatively overall all of science, the relatively small aspect of science that seems to go against the grain of your creationist
it isn't
religion,
science.
which is called evolution.
That's not
All
science.
the other aspects, it is science.
Listen.
It's not geography, it's not history, it's not geology, it is science. It is bioscience. It is biology. What is it if it's
a
not
theory.
science?
It's a theory of evolution.
Well, you're showing your ignorance of science in totality.
No, I'm not.
there.
There's such a
By
thing-
using the layman's understanding of the word theory.
Blind faith in
The
Darwinism.
layman's understanding of the word theory. Now, if you studied horticulture, if you studied plant science, you surely understand the meaning of the word theory, which is different to what the Joe Public's understanding of the word theory.
How weird is Joe
And
Public?
it's
It doesn't mean it's weak and it's not true
Well, in
and
this
it's only a
case, it
vague
is.
idea.
Because there is.
No, we're talking about the word theory.
Is he letting? I told you to stop shouting when we got on this.
Yeah, you did.
Because you're very annoying.
Oh, it is personal.
So you've upset
Can you
him.
turn the lights
There's a
off, please? Can you
turnaround.
turn the lights off?
Right. So let's talk about the science.
Turn the lights off, please. If you want me to say anything, turn the lights off.
Let's talk about the science, so-called, of evolution. I think what our
Which
friend
is
here.
so cool. Which bit's so cool?
You're getting really riled.
Because you're doing it on purpose.
No,
trying to
Darwin
wind me up
called his
by using the phrase
theory.
so cool.
He called it the theory of evolution.
Why are you transfixing on Darwin?
Because he invented it.
He didn't invent
It
it.
didn't exist before his book.
Did Newton invent gravity? No, he didn't invent it. It was
didn't
already
call-
there.
he didn't call it the
discovered
theory of
But it's not a theory of gravity, is it?
Listen.
It's not a theory of gravity.
Newton.
Darwin did not invent evolution. No more than Newton invented gravity. They discovered these things.
Right. Can I?
Scientists,
You can let me speak
with
now.
nonsense, I will jump in.
Right.
It's one of my weaknesses is ignoring
All
nonsense.
right. So it's
I
not.
find it
all
hard
of a sudden,
to-
it's not.
I
Speaker's
find it
corner.
hard to ignore
It's now. It's
what
now
is it?
ranter's corner.
Well, it's always been.
Okay.
As you well know.
Okay. So natural selection is the science which Darwin based his theory of evolution upon. There is such thing as natural selection, whereby when you have chromosomes cutting together, there will be a selection of DNA based on natural selection. So,
that's evolution.
for example, it's
Commonly
not
called
all right.
evolution.
If you want to call it microevolution, I will accept there's such a thing as
All of a
microevolution.
sudden, religious people can accept microevolution.
Well, not
they didn't
macroevolution.
5 years ago. They couldn't even accept microevolution 5 years, 10
No, I
years
don't
ago.
think you'll ever
But now
find
they
any-
realise that would really make them look stupid if they denied
Right,
microevolution.
that's not
So
about
now
looking
they've evolved in their thoughts, and now they're tolerating, accepting, and saying, "Oh yeah, microevolution, that's okay, but not macroevolution."
Okay.
And I wonder where they draw the precise line between the two.
Are you gonna let me draw the precise
Go
line?
on then.
Right.
Draw away.
Right. In the science books that I was taught from as a young boy in a secondary modern school in Blackpool, they had what they call the moth. I can't remember which moth it was, which changed colour on the trees in London. So there's pollution in the trees in London in the 1960s, and all these moths were black. And then they cleaned the trees, and only the white moths survived. Okay, so by natural selection, it makes sense that all the black moths would have stood out and got eaten, whereas the white moths, survived. I can't remember the exact argument, but this was given as an example of evolution. Another example of evolution was a tadpole turning into a frog.
No one has ever said that.
No? Well, I've seen it in science books. On the
you're
same page
reading
where they talk
very
about evolution,
rubbish science books to say
a lot of science books are rubbish.
Metamorphing into a frog.
Because this is
no one has
this
ever
is-
claimed that.
This
to be
is
the-
science for teenage kids in secondary modern
No,
schools.
well, maybe
because they are the only ones who believe
You
it.
should have passed the 11 plus, and you might have had better text.
was a monkey.
Actually, when it was the
So
11 plus,
are you actually being serious with us? You had a textbook that said a frog changing in, a tadpole changing into a frog was an example of evolution.
Yes.
Are you being serious?
yes, it's there in textbooks. To this day.
You believe that human being came from monkey?
Neither.
Now,
Why
if you look at mankind, if you just look at a cross section of the people here at Speaker's Corner, we have different skin tones, right? We have different skin tones. My friend and I are white, Caucasian. You're Asian. There's black people. Yeah. Now, we are all humans. We're all Homo sapiens. Yeah. That means we're a species. My wife is black, so a species can intermarry and produce offspring. Now, a cat cannot intermarry with a dog. and produce another species. Okay, that cannot happen. You do not get cats becoming dogs. Right. Now that is macroevolution. There is no evidence for that. Even Darwin himself acknowledged in his theory that as yet, here he is, he's panicking, here he goes panicking. As yet, there is no link found between apes and humans.
We are an ape. So how can there be a link between us and something that we are?
You might be an ape.
Are you a mammal? Are you a mammal?
I am a mammal.
Oh, so you're okay with being classed as a mammalian, but you're not okay being classed as an ape?
Yeah, because it's different.
Even though an ape is a lower level, mammal is a much higher level of classification and division than apes. So you're okay with a high level. Are you an animal?
Am I an animal?
Yeah.
No, I'm a separate
So he's
creation.
not an animal, he is a mammal, he's not an ape. I mean, there's just no logic to this, is there?
Because
I'm not an
mankind is
animal.
a special
Again, I'll
creation.
repeat it again. I'm not an animal, but I am a mammal. So I'm an animal yet not a mammal. Sorry, the other way around. A mammal yet not an animal. Not an ape. It's just inconsistent logic.
All right, let's have a bit of
Because
logic.
mammals are animals,
He
surely.
may let me speak. We'll see
You
what
study
happens.
basic biology.
Okay.
You know mammalian is a subset of animals. Like marsupials are a subset of
Are you going to
animals.
let me speak? Or are you just going to keep ranting?
No, because you claim to have studied some biology.
Yeah, and I'm going to...
Oh, you're doubting it now.
You're
Talk
saying
about
you're a
biology.
mammal but not an animal. How is that possible?
If you're going to let me answer, I'll answer.
So you're a mammal but not an animal.
Okay. If you look at... If I use the analogy of the Volkswagen, okay?
Oh, well, that's a good analogy
Here we
for
go.
living.
Let hear him out first.
No, do you have to bring out a lump of metal to compare us to? Bring out an animal.
We don't know what he's going to say about it. Let him
Because he's using a car.
He's upset and he's panicking.
No, it's nonsense. I'm jumping in again as I did before.
you're
At
panicking.
nonsense. Not panic. It's jumping in and pointing out nonsense.
If you're not stressed...
You're about to
if you're not
compare me with a
panicking,
lump of
why
metal.
can't you keep quiet? Yeah.
Because you're nonsensical. And you're about to compare us, and I'm trying to cut you off so you don't waste your breath.
You give your
Comparing
opinion.
me
Let him give his.
The fact that I've come about with a Volkswagen car. I mean, that you're going down a cul-de-sac, and I'm trying to save you from this.
Allah says this.
Have you been saved?
وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ
Now let Richard speak.
Let him drown himself. Let him drown. Well, I'm not. Let him speak.
Okay, the analogy.
I'm far
The analogy is the
from
Volkswagen.
I get
Okay,
no about
so you get the
life.
Volkswagen Golf, you get the Volkswagen Fox. Okay, I drive a Volkswagen Fox. To all intents and purposes, it's the same car as the Volkswagen Golf. But what happened is, one's got a shorter wheelbase and one's got a longer wheelbase. So it tells us they've got the same designer. It looks different, but it looks similar.
That's a good
Now
analogy.
that
actually,
is
yeah.
the same
Yeah.
thing with apes and humans. Okay. Now, when God created apes on
could have
day
saved you from
6,
this embarrassment.
okay, He created them with a particular design. They got they're semi-upright. They've got their skeleton is very similar to that of a human. Their internal organ structure is very similar to that of a human. Okay. Now, when God designed the human, He used the same design. He used the same skeleton structure, the same internal organ arrangement, but the difference is he breathed into man and he became a living soul. He didn't breathe into the ape.
And what does that mean?
So that
Can you
means
actually tell us what that means?
it means that
He's
we have a
explaining.
conscience. It means that we're able to
And a
create.
dolphin doesn't have a conscience.
No, it doesn't.
Really? Have
We
you
have
got
a-
any evidence to support your theory that a dolphin has no conscience?
Yeah, because
Because
animals.
I've got evidence to suggest you don't. Okay.
All right. If you train a dolphin, it can jump up and it can balance a ball on its nose.
And
When
an
it's trained-
untrained dolphin will save a human being from a shark attack without any training. So where does that come from?
We'll always do that.
Well, I don't think it was.
We'd like to try it with you.
Sorry?
We'd like to try that with you.
You want to do an experiment? Okay.
See if it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The dolphin will attack you.
Another difference: the breathing the soul, the living soul into the man-made.
What, you breathe
Mankind is able to create. Right?
Create what?
Yeah.
create new things. We're able to invent. We're
Camera.
able to
So
take on
chimpanzee.
independent. Yeah, but
So
we're able to
chimpanzee.
carry on independent thought. So we're able to take an idea.
Chimpanzee, so gorilla.
No, chimpanzee cannot create a camera, can
Gorillas
it?
can look in the mirror. Even birds can look. Have been proven to look in a mirror, and they know that's not another bird. There are certain bird species that give them a mirror, and they know,
You know why?
that's not another
You know
bird.
why? Because of instinct. Because God.
What instinct do birds have with mirrors? How did that happen? Instinctual reaction to a mirror. How did that come about?
Because they know how to identify the
Mirrors.
birds.
Through mirrors.
Yeah, because they're looking at another bird as far as they're concerned.
You said instinctual reaction to a mirror.
No, to a bird, to another bird.
But you're not
Birds with a
listening,
feather
are
stick
you?
together.
You're not listening.
Okay, maybe I wasn't listening.
There are species of birds that know when they look in a mirror, they know that's their reflection. They know it's not another bird.
Okay. Water? Possibly. When a bird looks in water, it's looking at
But
its
that's
reflection.
conscious, isn't it? Knowing that that's not another
Maybe God
bird.
programmed them to recognise a reflection.
Just to disprove these scientists.
He's left his signature and everything, DNA structure.
Yeah,
That's
the
one
DNA
signature.
structure is another case. The guys who discovered the DNA code in the 1950s, they called it a code. And what does a code tell you? It tells you that it's a language. So when the ribosomes in the DNA separate, and one of the ribosomes goes out of the cell, and there's a special mechanism that reads the code and then creates another amino acid based on reading that information.
And that
So
process is
therefore,
far
a
from perfect,
DNA.
isn't it? That process
It
you
is
just described is far from perfect.
It was perfect
And that's
in its
called
original
mutation. It's a mutation because Adam sinned. You see it. So the transcription of DNA is not a perfect process because Adam ate an apple. That's ultimately what you're going to say.
No,
Why didn't God get the transcription of DNA more accurate?
It's an interesting point that you've raised DNA, because evolutionists claim that all the improvements in the evolutionary line come through mutations. But you've just said yourself that mutations can only have a damaging effect.
I didn't say
on an
that. When did I
original
say that?
Information.
Mutations can be positive.
Oh, when? Show me one example of a positive mutation.
Mutations can be positive.
They don't
They can
exist.
be deleterious. Most of them have fuck all effect.
There is
Most
no
mutations
evidence
have
of,
no impact.
There's no evidence.
You did not study
of-
biology. I do not believe you
I
studied
did
biology.
study biology, and there is no
All I'm
evidence.
saying is very,
One
very
single
basic. GCSE
case,
biology.
No, it's not one single
It's
case
not degree
of
level.
a mutation that has had a benefit.
This is the religious
beneficial effect.
understanding of mutation.
Prove it.
The MRSA bacteria. Do I really need to spell an example out? The MRSA bacteria, methyl-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, evolved out of Staphylococcus aureus by evolving.
not evolving.
By evolving.
It's natural
straight
selection.
Against, no.
was
Yeah,
nothing
which is
happening in the-
evolution.
No.
Which is evolution.
No, because-
there's a positive evolution, a positive mutation
No,
to the
there's no
Staphylococcus
positive-
aureus
Let
that
me
was
tell you,
previously
you're
killed by the
mocking-
antibiotic.
You're mocking my
No, I'm
understanding of
giving
biology.
you science.
I will
I'm
give you
giving
some
you
science if you manage to keep quiet for a minute.
I've given you an
What
example
happens-
and you're
what
denying
happens
it. A
with-
positive mutation. Is this religious anthropological view
No,
that
it's
mutation
atheistic
equals
ranting.
bad?
This is atheistic ranting.
Mutation equals bad.
This is trying to
it's
silence
a dumb,
any voice
it's a
of
dumb
opposition.
fucker's
That's what
view
this
of
is.
basic
Oh,
science.
here we go with the insults now.
Because mutate.
Do you know what he's going to do now? He will Google the University of
It's
Blackpool.
GCSE biology. It's not complex.
Yeah, no,
It's
my
not
degree is
advanced.
from the University of Greenwich, by the way.
Well, my degree was from the University of Bath, which is slightly higher than University of Greenwich. If we're fucking university point scorers, come on now. You're going to tell me, what did you get? Desmond, what did you get? 2-2, 2-1. What did you get?
It was an FDSC.
So it wasn't even an honours.
They're all there.
Wasn't even an honours. So you really shouldn't have started the
Chef, one
university
second, one
point
second.
scoring.
Come,
should
Sabra, Chef, Sabra, Chef.
Already there.
it was well. Yeah, right.
coming,
So we're
I'm
still
coming.
on the point score.
Yeah, I'm actually a member of King's College Cambridge.
Are you still on point
No,
score?
you started.
Then why are you so ignorant
Because
when
he
it
said
comes to
University of
basic
Blackpool.
biology?
Yeah.
Blackpool? You talked about Blackpool.
All right.
Bath.
Forget-
How can you confuse Bath with
No,
Blackpool?
he said black.
No, I didn't. He said
Anyway,
Bath.
basic mutations. Positive, negative, most have no impact.
Let's get back to
He
the
said-
basic
he said
biology.
Bath.
Let's get back to the
Do you
basic
know how much of
biology.
the genome?
When I say
doesn't do anything?
basic biology, he just shouts.
Prayer time.